Hey YouTube, this is Bones on Campus. I thought that I would show some of you guys, if you're interested, what I'm doing for reloading. I'm going to reload some P-57 Magnum powder puff loads for cowboy action shooting. Real light powder charge, and if you're interested, I'll show you guys just how to use some of this stuff. Okay, first off, you're going to take your powder, which is going to be suitable for whatever round you're having to be reloading, and I'm going to put powder into my powder measure with a funnel. I don't spill. I'm going to dump a good little supply in here. Cap the powder, get it out of the way. Alright, that stuff's going. I've got my powder thrower, powder funnel, I've got a powder trickler, and I have my scale right here. Just a 505 RCBS balance beam. Oh, most stuff RCBS. I have a bunch of cases that have already been trimmed and primed, some nickel cases and some brass cases. That's what I have on hand. And I've got a box of lead bullets, got powder, and I have my press that's already set up, ready to go. To set that up, read your instructions, seating the bullet to depth for overall length and putting a crimp on it. You set the length for your cartridge overall length, and then you unscrew this top portion here, and you screw down the die body until you get the crimp that you want. Then, once you have that round all done and perfect, you bring the press back up, stop dead center, and you screw down your overall length control. And after you set that up, in a round or two, shouldn't be too hard to get it set up right. Then you can just crank away and just go. So I'm just going to get started here and reload some stuff. So, without further ado, these are a couple of cases that are not primed. I'm just going to throw completed rounds into an empty box. I've got, if you've noticed, all you lovely folks out there, this is just a Velveeta cheese box with duct tape on it to keep it from getting squishy. It's a lot cheaper than going and buying some little bullet tray thing. I mean, I have bullet trays, but for lots and lots of pistol rounds, I don't really see the point in needing them. I'm going to put them into a box and I'm done, but that box is full of empty cases that need to deprime and resize. I'm going to start by checking the zero balance on my scale. Bring all the levels back to zero, and make sure there's no powder or anything stuck in there. Make sure all the measures are at zero, and wait for it to balance out. Alright, the scale is balanced. You adjust the height on one side to get the beam to be right up on your zero mark. Now, before I get started doing anything else, I'm going to put on safety glasses, because having primed cases and powder around is just something you should do diligently to keep everything from going off. Okay, I know what powder charge I want to be running. Now I'm going to throw a couple of shots with the powder thrower and see where we're at. I can adjust how much is going off at once. I can turn this little adjustment screw, and that goes in or out, either increases or decreases volume. Alright, it's looking like my charge is a hair heavy. I'm going to adjust it down, and in this stage, what I like to do is I take my first couple of powder throws that aren't quite right, and I use them to fill up my powder trickler. Instead of getting everything set up and then throwing everything back in top of this, I just take the first couple, throw them in here. And actually, that is about right. So, what I'm going to do, verify one more. Everything was set up previously, so it shouldn't have been too far off. That one was way low. Got to make sure you throw the charge lever consistently. If it's not consistent, you're going to have problems. So now I'm going to increase the volume because now that's coming out low twice in a row. And yes, it says boring. I'll skip ahead. Okay, I have the amount that I want to have, so I'll take my trickler that now has some powder in it. Put this over here by my pan. Now I'm going to start. Have empty box for putting completed rounds in, and I've got primed cases. So what I'm going to start doing, throw the powder charge into the prime case, make sure everything gets in there, check it visually, make sure it's right, take the bullet, start it in, which is why with pistol rounds you bell the case bell so you can set it in there to start it. I don't know how well you can see that. Now I'm going to take this, put it in my press, run it down, and that's there. So, to double check where we're at, get out the calipers, measure my overall length, verify the load data I have in my case. Cartridge overall length looks good. What I do, guys, mark cases with what stuff is in them. Then on the inside, I just have little stickers and I write down the load data. I've got info in here for 5 different loads. The ones I'm doing currently are cowboy loads, and I need to highlight them to make sure that it's clear. So leave this up so I can check some subsequent loads. I don't want to just check one and then go hellbent for the horizon. Double check my taper, make sure that the taper crimp looks about right. That one looks pretty good. That's one. Get a case, it's empty, primed. We have powder. Start the bullet. Go with the press. Another thing I do for consistency is I'll take the round and I'll turn it like 45 or 90 from where we are, or from the first press, just to make sure that if for any reason it's oblong or goes in crooked or anything like that, that we can help stop that from being an issue. Okay, this round is a little bit light on powder, so I'm going to start with my powder trickler. Inside the powder trickler, it's just like the thread of a nut. So as I'm spinning this, it's forcing the powder to ride down the thread. And once it gets down there and it feeds enough, there it starts coming out. There we go. And I'll just add stuff until my scale levels out and I have the right amount. We have powder, bullet, press, turn, press, and then it's done. So I'm going to do this another 120, 150 times, however much brass I have here. I have a bunch of brass that's ready to go. One thing, now this is a single stage press. A progressive press would be a lot faster. I have not made the jump yet to purchasing one. When I do, I'm going to look at a Dillon, just because they are pretty awesome. But at the same time, I can get by with this for now. I think with those you can get from anywhere from 500 to 1,000 rounds an hour once everything's ready to go. With this, I'm getting, I don't know, maybe 100 rounds an hour. It's not very much. But this is what I have currently, what I'm using. With that, though, the one thing that I dislike the most about reloading is getting all the cases ready. You have to take a used case, punch out the primer, deburr the flash hole, clean out the primer pocket, size the case, I chamfer the ID and the OD of the case mouth to get rid of any burrs left from trimming the overall length. Then I bell the case, prime it, and then we get it to where it is here. So I know that with progressives, you can prime, deprime in one station, but you still have to do all the case prep as far as cleaning them, tumbling them, trimming them to length. And for me, I have just a regular Lyman hand-operated trimmer. I don't have the power trimmer of any kind yet. So that takes a long time, especially with new brass. Now with this stuff, I trim to minimum length. So as it gets shot and used again, it'll eventually stretch forward a little bit. So I should be able to get more than a couple reloads out of each piece of brass before I have to trim the overall length again. But all of that busy work and behind-the-scenes stuff, you still have to do with the progressive press. So, yes, it is a lot faster, but at the same time, there's still work to be done. There's not just you buy a progressive press and it's all magically gone away. That is just one man's opinion. And having said that, yes, I do still want to buy one. I currently, because I do not have a progressive press, I only hand load for my revolver rounds and my high-power rifle. I don't reload for any pistol rounds, 9mm, 40, 45 ACP, just because for the prices you can get at Walmart, for me right now, it doesn't pay to reload. Now, 357 Magnum, 45 Colt, 41 mag, you need to just about reload to get at any kind of a cost savings. You go try to buy a box of 45 Colt somewhere, and you're going to spend $30 on 50. Whereas with like a 45 ACP, you spend $30, $35 on 100. So, until they get a progressive press, my plan is to buy pistol ammo and make everything else. Now, this powder thrower is just the regular stock variety. It doesn't have the micrometer adjust powder throw or the measurement select, which would make it better. The one thing I have noticed is that there is a nut that goes into this main body, or a screw with a hex head on the end, that will loosen up, and as it loosens up, it changes your volume. There's a little spring between this tightening knob and that nut to help keep everything tight, and the little screws that hold this lever arm on. Anything that has threads on it can and does get loose. So if you're noticing, after running it, and it should be fairly consistent within about within a couple of tenths of a grain, then all of a sudden if you notice that you have a lot more or a lot less powder coming out, double check, make sure things are tight. Because if they're not, you'll be chasing it and keep making adjustments, and then just realize that you had something loose and you wasted, 10 minutes chasing around phantom problems. Like anything else in life, it's usually the simplest thing that's wrong.